Welcome back. This is Mr. Anderson. I missed you terribly. And we were in the middle of just doing a little bit of analysis on some polynomial functions, specifically in that first video is doing a cubic, and this one here is a quartic. So first thing it says is to graph it. I'm actually going to classify and do the end behavior before we even graph it. So this is a fourth degree polynomial, and we call that a quartic. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. So we just say a quartic polynomial with 4 terms. Okay, and the end behavior. Now, without even graphing it, I know what this end behavior is going to do, because this is going to do what all even degree polynomials that have a negative lead coefficient, like this has a -1, they all do the same thing on the ends. Just like, think of the simplest even polynomial you think of, like y equals, whoops, where do we go? Oh, here we go. Okay, like y equals x squared. I'm sorry, negative x squared. All right, it's a parabola that opens downward. All right, it goes down and down. And all even degree polynomials that have a negative coefficient do the same thing. So I know that this one also is going to go down and down. As x decreases, f of x, I can't write the right letter. Okay, f of x also decreases on the left end. And as x increases, f of x decreases again. All right, on the left end, it goes down forever. Right end, it goes down forever. Okay, let's graph this. And this time I'm going to use the TI-84 calculator to graph it and find all the important points here. So I'll hit y equals, and I will just plug in this function here. What is this? Why is this over here? I can't seem to get rid of this. Huh. Go away. Oh, great. Now I have a... All right, maybe I can get around this. I don't know. Okay, I'm back. Had to figure out what was going on with my computer here. So I'm just going to plug this this function f of x equals negative x to the fourth. So the negative down here, negative. Oh, I can't quite see that. Maybe I'll have to zoom out just a little bit. Didn't want to. Wanted to have this as big as possible. Okay, negative, what was it? X. Here's my X button there. Raised to the fourth power. Let's arrow over so we're not still in the exponent. Minus, now make sure you hit the minus button now, not the negative button. Two different buttons down at the very, very bottom, that's negative. And then we have plus, minus, times division. And that's our minus. So minus 9x, or raised to the third power. Arrow over, minus 24 x squared, x raised to the 2, arrow over, minus 16x. And we got the function plugged in. Let's double check. Negative x to the fourth minus 9x cubed minus 24x squared minus 16x. We hit graph. Oh, hey, and we got all the important stuff that we actually need to see on the graph there. I was surprised. But I do want to zoom in just a little bit here. So let's zoom in. Now, if I zoom in, all right, that's the second one down there. I hit enter. This is where I want to zoom in from. Let's just kind of get it more centrally located here. Okay, right about there. Let's see if it zooms too much. A little bit. So I'm going to hit the window instead. And let's go a minimum of -6 on the x-axis. Whoops, what did I do? What did I do? Let's go back. Go to. Oh, I got -6, I guess. -6. Let's clear that out. -6 and a maximum of, it crossover is 0. Let's just go a maximum of 2. And the x scale, everywhere we have a tick mark, we'll just, every 1 unit will have a tick mark. Minimum, oh, I should have looked at it a little better, but minimum, it doesn't need to be too far below, I don't think. I can't remember. We'll go to negative, let's say -8. And then maximum will go +10. Let's see how that works out. And we'll have the every tick mark at 1 unit as well, the y scale. So let's graph it again. Okay, ooh, I didn't quite get that relative minimum there. So let's go back down. Not -8, but let's go -10. Okay, now I have it. I can see all the important points here, and I could see it with the original one, but I also want to just do that just to show you around a little bit what you could do, because you may not even see your graph in this little window that we have, and you have to adjust where you're looking on your grid, on your XY plane there. So what was it? Okay, so now we have our graph, and well, we were supposed to graph it. I'm going to copy and paste again. So we'll just take this little guy here and graph it. And I'll paste that on here. Okay, there we go. There's our graph. From our calculator. On to the next thing. And actually, I'm going to paste that on the next page too. Here's the other things we have. We have to find the relative maximum, minimum, and all that. So here's our graph. And I can see graph is going up, increasing. It bounces off the x-axis. So we know, okay, that has an effect that the zeros here have a multiplicity of an even number. And then it goes back down, has this relative minimum here. And then it crosses over the x-axis. So I'm going to have an odd number of zeros there. Goes back to another relative maximum here, and then goes back down. Looks like it goes right through the origin, but it crosses over. So we'll have another odd number of zeros right there, and then goes down forever. Okay, so that's our graph. First thing we need to do is find the relative maximum and relative minimum. So this one I'm pretty confident is -1, -2, -3, -4. Right at x equals -4. And this one, -4 comma 0. Looks like there's a relative maximum there. This one is not near as obvious right down here. Looks like about, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, somewhere around a -1, 2, -2.5, comma -9. All right, definitely want to find those. All right, that looks like it does cross over right at -1 and comes up to another maximum that's maybe negative 0.5 comma 1, 2, 3, negative 0.5 comma 3. But we need to know, a little bit more accurate as to where those are. So this is how we're going to do that on our graphing calculator. We want to perform some calculations here. So right where it says trace, in blue, it says calc. So I want to hit the blue button. I want to hit second calc. And it has minimum and maximum right on there. Okay, so I'll go to number 3. And it's going to ask us 3 questions. It's say, okay, what is the left bound? All right, so I'm just going to kind of create this little area, this interval where this relative maximum is contained. So I'm going to go to the left of my maximum, and I'm going to hit enter. All right, and creates a real thin vertical line there. And then and then it says, what's the right bound? Okay, so I go over to the right side of my maximum, and I hit enter again. And so it creates these 2 lines, and it even has these little arrows pointing in. And I'm just telling the calculator, hey, that relative maximum is somewhere between these 2 lines. All right, the left bound and the right bound. And it says, what's your best guess? It says guess. And I go at the top. You don't have to guess that well. Just be between the lines. Hit enter, and it spits out what that minimum is. And that's not it. What went wrong here? Let's do it one more time. Second calc. I want to know. Oh, because I did minimum. I wanted maximum. Let's go over to the left side. There's my left bound. Let's go over to the right side. There's my right bound. And this maximum is right there. And it tells me, yes, that in fact is at x equals -4. So good. And I'll write that one down over here. X equals -4. And I know this has a multiplicity of an even number. I know that's repeated an even number. So this has to be -4, at least -4 has to repeat twice. All right, so I keep that in mind. Oh, that's the zeros. Wait, I need to put this maximum down as well. All right, that maximum was right at -4, comma 0. Okay, in that little area, in that relative area, it gets as high as 0, right at the x-axis. And I got to find this relative minimum here. And then we'll go back and we'll find this other maximum. Now let's find the other maximum first. All right, since that's what we're on. Okay, we got another maximum. So second calc, and I'll go to the left side of that maximum. Here we go. Right here, I'll hit enter and go to the right side of that maximum. I'll hit enter again, take a guess of where I think that maximum is, and it will tell me very accurately where it is. So -0.43. So there's another maximum at -0.43. 127, but I'll just do it 2 decimal places, comma 3.12. 3.12. So there's another maximum right there. Those are the only 2 relative maximums. And then there's a relative minimum right here. And by the way, this second relative maximum is the maximum of the entire graph, because this graph goes down forever here, down forever over here. So that is the highest point on that graph. Let's find that minimum. So now we go down to minimum. And we'll go to the left side of that relative minimum. And go to the right side of that relative minimum. Hit enter. And then go to the center. Hit enter. And it tells us exactly what it is. -2.32 about. negative 2.32, comma, and then it also says y equals negative 8.64. Negative 8.64. All right, if you recall, when I was just kind of like guessing it, I was guessing, oh, it's about negative 2.5, comma, negative 9. And so this is more accurately what it actually is. Okay, now back to the zeros. Okay, so our graph, it comes up, increasing, increasing, and just at this one point, touches the x-axis right at negative 4, comma 0, and then goes back down. It bounces off. So I know that zero, that particular zero, that x-intercept, which tells us the zeros, I know that zero is repeated an even number of times. So I know that's at least twice. Okay, let's continue on here and take a look at the other zeros as well. So here it crosses the x-axis as well. There's another 0 right there. And it looks like it crosses over right at negative 1. So, by the way, let's go back to our calculator, because we don't know for sure that crosses over right at exactly negative 1. So let's do a calculation on it. And let's find the 0. Number 2, it says 0. Hit enter. And it's the exact same thing here. We'll go to the left side of where we think that 0 is. And it's going to give us a little line. We'll go over to the right side of that 0. Give us another line, and it says, make your best guess where you think that 0 is. Hit enter. It tells us exactly that 0. It says x equals negative 1, y equals 0. So yes, in fact, that does cross over at negative 1. So we have a 0 at negative 1, and it crosses over. So we know that has a minimum of 1, 0, minimum multiplicity of negative 1. Why did I say negative 1? Because that's the 0. Has a minimum multiplicity of 1. It's going to have an odd multiplicity. That 0 is going to be repeated an odd number of times. So at least once. Let's continue on. Graph goes up and maximum there, comes back down. It looks like it crosses over the origin. Let's double check, make sure that it is in fact the origin. So we go second, calc. Let's find the 0. And let's go to the left side of that 0. Hit enter. Let's go to the right side of the 0. Hit enter. And then make your best guess. Doesn't have to be that great of a guess. Just be between the lines. Hit enter. And it tells us x equals 0, y equals 0. So that does, in fact, go through the origin. And so I know that that has an odd multiplicity too, because it goes across the x-axis. All right, bounces off even multiplicity, goes across odd multiplicity, across odd multiplicity. Now, the function, right here it is up here. Y to the fourth minus 9x squared minus 24x squared minus 16x. This is a fourth degree polynomial. That means that there are 4 roots. And these are 4 real roots, all right? And here they are right here, negative 4, negative 4, negative 1, 0. There's the 4 zeros right there, all right? That's the maximum number of zeros this can have because it's a fourth degree polynomial. The degree is going to tell us the number of zeros that we have. So I know that this cannot be any higher. I have it at the minimum right now of how many times it repeats. And I have each one of these at the minimum. Okay, so this has to be it right here. I can't go lower than 2 of the negative 4s because it has to have, because it bounces off, it has to have a minimum multiplicity of 2. So we have 0 of x equals 4. I'm sorry, negative 4 with a multiplicity of 2, and the effect is bounces off the x-axis. Okay. Here we got x equals -1 with multiplicity of 1. I'll just take it. And it crosses over. Okay, that was pretty bad. Crosses over the x-axis. And then we have x equals 0 with a multiplicity of 1, and it crosses over the x-axis again. Okay, so there's our 4 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, the multiplicity is telling us. So again, we have to say, okay, these are the zeros, what would the factors be? So if I have a 0 of -4, then the factor must be x plus 4. And then I have 2 of those, because I have a multiplicity of 2 on that, x plus 4. X equals -1. The factor must be x plus 1. And x equals 0. I guess I don't need parentheses on this one. We would just have x. All right, so here's all of our factors. I'm going to take this over to the left a little bit. There is our function factored out. So we should be able to remultiply these again and come up with the original function. The original function of x to the 4th power minus 9, x cubed minus 24x squared minus 16x. So let's multiply all of these. We got x plus 4 times x plus 4. We just do FOIL on that. We have x squared, x times x squared, x times 4 is plus 4x. And then distribute your 4. 4 times x is 4x, so plus another 4x. You know those two are going to combine. And 4 times 4 is 16. All right, so we have that. And x plus 1. And we got this factor of x here as well. Let's simplify this to its trinomial here. X squared plus 8x plus 16 times this factor of x plus 1 times x. Okay, so now let's distribute this x with all 3 of these terms. Let's distribute this 1 with all 3 of those terms. So we got x times x squared, x cubed, x times positive 8x is 8x squared. And then x times 16 is positive 16x. Distributed the x with all the 3 of those terms. Now I got to distribute 1 with each one of these terms. Well, you're going to